Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Rodney, and I'm back. And I wanted to come and run my mouth and talk about was it an interview or a conversation between? Okay, Nene talk a lot. I talk a lot, but I'm over here by myself. We'll get to it, but yeah, I wanted to talk about um, the interview that Nene Leakes did with Tamar Braxton. I wasn't gonna watch it, but just to be a little, transparent. Girl, I'm tired of talking about Diddy. you know, I'm tired of talking about Cassie. I'm tired of talking about Hallie, the Little Mermaid, and that nook who she had a baby with. What's his name? What the diva call him? Dumb Dumb Goofy. Shout out to the diva, Erica De Niro TV. Um, so I was like, girl, what can we talk about? And so, is my nose dirty? Oh, I be forgetting. I be thinking my nose dirty. I need to go get a nose job. I need a nose job because you can see the back of you can see all the way in the back of my nostrils, and it appears as though my nose could be dirty, but my nose is not dirty. I'm so self conscious about my nose. You see, one of my nostrils is lopsided, bigger than the other. Anyways, it's not about my nose. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about something different. And so here we are with Tamar and Nene Leakes. So let's just get into it. Okay, so I took notes on my iPad, and for those who have been rocking with me for a very long time, I'm old school. When I say I'm old school, I like to write stuff down on pen and paper. I hate taking notes on my phone or my iPad, but I was being super duper, super lazy. And the only thing that I had by me was my phone, and I was not about to get up my bed because it was feeling real good. So I took notes from my phone because I didn't want to come in my living room, even though it's only 3 steps away, and get my notepad and pen. So okay, here we go. And then I just air shot. What is it called? Air dropped it to my iPad. So I wasn't gonna watch. Um, and then I was dragging, right? So I was this is what I do. When I'm trying to find a thumbnail sometimes, um, I will go, like, for example, with Nene's show. I was like, let me find a cute little thumbnail. Let me find a spot where it could be clear and all that stuff. And so as I'm dragging the video along to try to find a spot before I even watch the video, okay, to try to find a spot that could be my thumbnail, every time I would stop, I would hear Nene talking. And I'm like, mind you, I probably stopped the video, thinking that this would be a good area to get a screenshot to make it into a thumbnail at least 6 or 7 times. And every time I would stop, girl, I would hear Nene's voice. And I'm like, girl, why is it that Nene is conducting the interview, but every time I stop, I only hear Nene's voice? So I was like, girl, girl. So once I started watching, it appeared more um, as a conversation between, two friends, and I'm using friends loosely, but it just appeared like as a conversation between two friends. I wouldn't necessarily say an interview. For those who watched it, would you say it was an interview? Because to me gave more of like a conversation. But I watched the whole thing. Okay, I just told a lie. I didn't watch the whole thing. When I noticed that it was a girl at the beginning, somebody from Gossip. I guess they do Hot Topics together. I fast forward, so I stopped like 12 minutes. I fast forward like 12 minutes until when Tamar basically came out. Um, maybe I got a little room to talk because I just came from the barbershop. Okay. I just came from the barbershop. So maybe I'm feeling myself and feeling myself. Okay. I like Tamar. I really do. I have been a fan of Tamar's music since I was in high school. Tamar's debut album actually came out like around, I think around like 2000. Some people think that Love and War is her debut album. It's not. So I've always been a fan of Tamar's music, always. And I became a fan of Tamar's personality and who she was on Braxton Family Values. But with all that being said, Tay Tay, When I tell you I didn't know what was going on with Tamar's head, at one point I thought it was finger waves and a bust down. Then at one point I thought it was a fade and a bust down. And then at one point I was like, are those baby bangs slash finger waves and a bust down? When I tell you, I don't know why they decided to go that route with Tamar's hair. It's not for me. I'm not just this fashionista. I'm just not this hairstylist to the stars. And maybe this is something new. But I just did not understand Tamar's hair. When I tell you, I was like, what is going on with Tamar in this bust down baby bangs, finger waves, fade, 40 inches down her back? Is it me, or was Nene's makeup looking very weird, or was it the lighting? I know some of y'all who do makeup said sometimes the makeup could be right, but if the lighting is not right, then it can throw the whole situation off. And I do recall times in the past where, like, when me and my sister used to live together, before we would go out, I remember her always taking pictures of her face, girl, because she would. And now that I'm thinking about it, she would always take pictures of her face and to see how it would look, because we taking pictures in the club. Anyways, Tamar and Nene are neighbors. I didn't know that. I don't really keep up with Nene or Tamar like that, like them both, but I don't keep up with them to the point where I know where they live and if who's who they neighbors with. But I'm assuming that Tamar and Nene live in a very exclusive building somewhere in Buckhead. Um, I know at one point during the conversation she said Metro Booming. He lives in the building. So, and I think Nene and Tamar live like close, not just the same building, but like right beside each other. It sounds like Nene, Nene. I'm not gonna lie, Nene low key sound like me. Girl, when I'm home, my door is locked and I mind my business. Okay, so they were basically saying how like Nene really don't bother nobody. Tamar, she said, is maybe because she grew up in a big household where she likes to host. She likes for people to come over, and I was like, that actually makes sense. Um, but she's always having people over, and Nene is the complete opposite. Nene go in her house like her dog because she don't want to be bothered. I was like, that low-key sound like me. I put that she don't fool with Tamar, but I don't think it's that she doesn't fool with Tamar. I think that when Nene's home, she's home. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, girl, we cool, girl. And one day we could probably go, go out for drinks. And then from the conversation that they had, it sounds like Tamar and Nene are actual friends. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm thinking about the conversation they had. But based off of the conversation they had and Nene traveling, them traveling together, and Nene staying at Tamar's house when she was with Vince, we'll get into that in a little bit. It sounds like they were more than friendly. They were friends. But when Nene is at home, she's at home. So they also talked about Nene was basically talking about how at certain times she was basically giving Tamar a compliment about her voice and how she can project. And she has a very nice singing voice. And the first thing I thought about was I said, "Oh, girl, wherever y'all live, girl, y'all walls must just be like ours." Girl, when I tell y'all, girl, this ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I was texting. I think I said this one night on Twitter. One of my neighbors, I'm not even mad at her. It's a girl. When I tell you, one of my neighbors has, I don't know, I don't know, girl, I don't know if she a hoe or what, but I know she have sex all the time. Yeah, I don't know if she having different men in her house or what. I just know she have sex all the time. And I remember when I first moved over here to this apartment, I was like, oh girl. For the most part, believe it or not, even though I live where I live, you would think that it's a party apartment because of the location, but it's very, very quiet, especially during the weekday. A lot of these people, they, work downtown. So, you know, I mean, I've been here for a minute, so I know because it's pretty empty during the day. And then after 5:30, everybody's outside walking their dogs. But anyways, you would think that where I live, it just would be like noise, 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 but it's not. It's actually very quiet. And even there's been different scenarios where there has been a party or two, but for the most part, there is usually quiet. So when I first moved up here, I was like, "Oh, this is kind of quiet," and I never really heard my neighbors, or maybe I just didn't want to. But girl, as of recently, girl, when I tell you, baby, the last like few months, girl, my neighbor be fucking boots, girl, and I'm so girl, am I a pervert? Am I a pervert? Y'all just be sitting there listening, girl. They be when I tell you, they be loud, like loud. When I see the bed, just be pow, 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 girl. And one night I was recording. I was like, girl, let me record. I mean, I'm not recording them, but I was recording the sound. And I sent it to Brittany. I said, Brittany, listen to this. And she was like, oh my God. Girl, when I tell you, she has sex at least. She has a very healthy sex life. And when she has sex, it be more than once. When she has sex for like 3 or 4 hours. Yes. And like they take breaks. Like they'll take breaks, but it be for like 3 or 4 hours. And you can tell when they done because you hear the bed and then all of a sudden it stops. And then girl, they'll start back. Girl, like 30 minutes later. And then they'll go another round. When I say, baby, she just be having sex. Anyways. So I was like, girl, if she can hear Nene, I mean, she could hear Tamar sing, and I said, her walls must be thin like mine. Girl, where you live? Because I refuse, because I think, I ain't gonna say where I think they live, because it's nobody's business. But I think I have an idea where Nene lives, and I would think for the price that I'm assuming in my head that they will be paying for the location and for the apartment, or y'all walls will be a little bit more thick. It just goes to show, girl, these motherfuckers be throwing these buildings up, and girl, throw a little wood and concrete or whatever's in the middle of these walls, girl, and they going on by their business. Anyways, um, Tamar talks about her sisters and how is depending on the day, she'll have a different favorite. She'll have a favorite sister depending on what's going on. But she said her and Tony have always been like super, 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 super close. Oh, they also tapped on Tamar unfollowing people. She did say she unfollows people. She unfollowed Nene at one point, I believe, but she said she didn't know why. I can understand because sometimes you might just be in an unfollowing mood and you just be like, unfollow, 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 unfollow. So at one point, Nene, when Tamar was with Vince, when I say I never liked Vince, I never liked Vince because I didn't like the way he talked to Tamar. The main reason why I stopped watching Tamar's spinoff show was because of Vince. I couldn't stand Vince. I hated his attitude. I hated the way he looked. I hated the way he ate food. I hated the way he talked. I didn't like the size of his tongue. I didn't like the way he walked. And I tell you, everything about that man annoyed me. I didn't like the way he talked to Tamar. Anyways, so they just tapped on, one time her and Greg went to see Tamar and Vince, and she didn't realize pretty much they lived on an estate. She said they had like two guest houses outside of the main house, and they wanted her to stay at the house, but she didn't know. She was just like, no, 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 no. She wanted her own space, which I completely understand. So she was kind of mad at Greg because Greg was supposed to book the hotel room. Anyways, she stayed at Tamar's house. I'm not gonna go into all the details of what she talked about because it's really not important and it's kind of nasty, especially if you're eating. Um, but she, basically spent the night at Tamar's house. Um, let's get into the mess. They start talking about the real. Nene says that she was supposed to be cast on the real. Well, she could have been on the real, and she turned it down basically. And then Tamar don't like Lonnie Love. No, I'm just gonna get straight to it. Tamar don't like Lonnie Love. She called that lady Big Back Cadillac. Now I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of giggle, but then I thought about, well, bitch, girl, if Lonnie Love is Big Back Cadillac, then girl, that nigga that was crawling on top of you, or you was crawling on top of him, girl, he must be an 18-wheeler. Listen, I don't care. I don't care about Tamar talking about Lonnie Love. I don't. The thing that bothers me with Tamar is Tamar had a whole nervous breakdown on daytime television when when K Michelle was out here dragging her and calling her a muppet. So I do think it's kind of ironic that now all of a sudden that Tamar is taking shots at someone's physical appearance, but when someone was taking shots at hers, baby, they had you rocking back and forth, girl crying down to the real. So all I'm saying is, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you want to take shots at Lonnie Love, then take shots at Lonnie Love, but don't get mad when people start walking around here calling you Muppet Baby and Fraggle Rock. You see what I'm saying? Just charge it to the game. But I do believe now I will give Tamar this much though. Tamar, I'm tired of looking over these. We're just gonna talk. um, Tamar basically says that it sounds like Tamar is on some, when we got beef, we're gonna have beef forever. I wish that's my problem with Tamar, like with her and Kandi. Instead of Tamar just saying, I don't like that hoe, and I ain't gonna never fuck with that bitch, and we got beef forever. Because I think I would respect Tamar a whole lot more if she just came out and said that. Because for whatever reason, Tamar and Tamar and Nene, I feel like have a hard on for Kandi to a certain degree. Um, Let me go back to Lonnie Love. So the whole fallout with Lonnie Love happened because she claims that Lonnie Love, she found out Lonnie Love was having meetings behind her back, asking why was she on the show, upset that she would have certain days off because the show, from what Tamar says, when I say I probably watched 5 episodes of The Real, um, from what Tamar said, the show was really built around her. Um, I don't know what type of business Tamar and Vince were doing, but it sounds like they wasn't taking care of their business. Can we just talk frank? When it came down to the Braxton family values, Tamar said out of her mouth, Vince and I didn't know what we were doing, right? Tamar said she wanted to do a TV show. Vince said okay. Um, and they started shopping around the ideas of different networks. And she said that she didn't want to really go too much in on WeTV because since then they've made things right with Tamar. I guess they didn't read over the paperwork when they first got the show. I guess they were just signing on the dotted line, and everything was just messed up. And I guess she didn't really go into detail, but I'm assuming that's why when the show came back, instead of it being titled Braxton Family Values, it's titled now The Braxtons. So it's basically a completely different show as far as the title. Um, but on the same network. So, but again, she didn't really want to go into detail because, again, she says that, the network has done good by them, and it is what it is. But her and Vince did not know what they were doing the first time around. um they just didn't know. But it sounds like y'all didn't know what y'all was doing at The Real either, because if Tamar has all these ideas, if this is really Tamar's show, Tamar, how you get the boot from your own shit? Because we looked up, everybody still had their job except for Tamar. You see what I'm saying? Like, girl, like, how good was Vince at doing business? Because this is pretty much the second time you've said that It was your idea, or it was built around you. It was your idea for Braxton Family Values. It was your idea for The Real. The show was built around you. She cast um, Tamara, and she cast um, Adrian, and then she said Sally, some woman, cast Jeannie and Lonnie Love. She's assuming. And then when they first got the show, they told Vince, well, Tamar gonna have to film every day, and Vince was like, absolutely not. And so that was a part of, I guess, the deal, and I guess Lonnie Love didn't understand because while they had to be there every day, Tamar didn't, because Tamar also was a singer. She was traveling. I think she said this was around the time Love and the War came out. She also ended up getting pregnant, but she doesn't fool with Lonnie. She said Lonnie talked about her in her book. Lonnie basically, Lonnie was a part of the reason. I'm not gonna say she got fired, but she don't fool with Lonnie. And then when it comes to Kandi, um, Tamar asked a question. Let me go back to my notes. Why does everybody think that I beef with everybody? That's what she said. And then hold up. Yeah, why do people say I fall? No, she said, why do people say I fall out with everybody? And then Nene basically said, well, Kandi, what's y'all problem? Nene said she wouldn't mind Kandi coming down to her show. Girl, the only way Kandi coming down to your show is if you went to her show. And if you didn't go to Kandi's show, she definitely ain't coming to yours, Nene. Speak on it. Did Nene ever go to Kandi Speak on it? Can I say something? I do believe Tamar a tad bit about Kandi. I don't think Kandi is this villainous type of person. I don't. And I don't recall the beef between her, Kandi, and Todd. And I don't even know if that's where the beef stemmed from. Remember when I think something happened backstage somewhere between Kandi, Todd, and Tamar, and I think Todd and Kandi approached Tamar. I can't remember. I really can't remember, y'all. Um, I do believe this is the thing when it comes to Kandi. Kandi has a way larger following than Tamar. Kandi is known way more than Tamar. So this is what happens when you get into a beef or an argument with someone who has a bigger platform than you. You're going to lose, and people are not going to care what you have to say. Let me give you an example. If I got into it with a YouTuber who probably had 2 million subscribers, okay, and I'm over here, we rocking over here with my little number, you know, even if I was 100% correct, and even if I was 100% right, because that person has a bigger platform, then ain't nobody gonna care what I have to say. They're automatically gonna side with this person. It doesn't matter. And I think also because Tamar is dramatic, and Tamar, again, the thing I don't like about Tamar is instead of Tamar just telling the bitch, I don't fuck with you and hope we're gonna have beef forever. Tamar does give me sometimes the girl who throws a rock and hides her hand. Like, here we go again. Even if I believe that Kandi is not 100% innocent, here we go again with you reigniting this beef with Kandi. Yes, Kandi did refer to Tamar as a clown, but that was also the reaction to Tamar's action when she got down to YouTube, to Instagram, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. At some point, either Tamar is gonna say, "Girl, I don't have nothing to say about Kandi. It's all good in the hood." Or either she's gonna say, just like I said about Trina and Kaya. One thing about Kaya gonna tell you, "I'm gonna drag Trina to the day I die," and it is what it is. I don't give a fuck what nobody got to say. Kaya been dragging Kaya, girl, since that red couch when she was dragging people and she did her A through Z fireworks blog. Some of y'all don't know what I'm talking about. So again, I don't know the ins and outs of Tamar and Kandi's beef. I don't know where it stems from. I do remember it's something happened backstage. Tamar saying that Kandi lied on her. Um, and we've heard people say that Kandi can be problematic, and I believe she can. Now, to what level of problematic, I don't know. But I do believe Tamar to a certain degree when she talks about Kandi. I do. I do. I do. I really do. And I do also definitely believe her about Lonnie Love. I do. I do. I really do. But again, I think that some people don't want to give Tamar the benefit of the doubt because Tamar is Tamar and she's overly dramatic, right? In the way that she approaches situations sometimes can be a put off. So it's kind of like once somebody dislikes you or they recognize or they feel as though you could be problematic, they're going to say you're problematic about everything. And it could be those 1 or 2, 3, 4, or 5 instances where she could be right. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I want to give a shout out to Tamar. Tamar basically is not having sex right now, but she says she's on prep. Let me say something and I'm going to be done with it. I don't know about when prep came out. Maybe they were just automatically marketing it to gay men. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to say everybody. You have to consult with your doctor, of course. But prep is just not for gay men. So when I remember when Tamar came out online and she was basically saying she's on prep, blah, 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 I saw so many people in the comment section, girl, why you on that? Girl, you should be ashamed. Why should Tamar be ashamed of protecting herself? Again, maybe when they came out with prep, they did market it to just gay men. But Tamar can be on prep. You can be a woman and you can still be on prep. Prep is supposed to protect you from HIV, right? HIV is just not for gay men, believe it or not. Even though Tamar is not having sex, there's nothing wrong with her taking precautions to make sure that if I do slip up one night and bust it down low, right, and don't use a condom, I'm protecting myself. Even Nene was like, girl, why you telling people that? You don't need to be telling nobody that. It's almost like shaming a woman for being on birth control. It's like shaming a woman for being on birth control. If anything, Tamar is doing the Lord's work by using her platform to let other women know, girl, you might want to go get you something too. If your insurance covered, all that stuff, whatever. You might want to get you one of them chicken sandwiches. And I'm going to say something that's about to get real uncomfortable. I remember at one point, they were saying that Atlanta was, when it came to the HIV AIDS rate, that Atlanta, I think it was amongst gay men. Don't quote me on that, but I know they said Atlanta at one point was like a third world country. Now, this was years ago. I'm about to say something. Don't take this the wrong way. Just listen to me. If, listen to what I'm saying. If y'all think that HIV is only caught by gay men, and then I'm sorry to inform some of you, the niggas who are bending you over, they're also, some of them are getting bent over. And if y'all living in Atlanta with all the gay boys in Atlanta, and if y'all thinking it's just a gay man's disease, and it's not, because these niggas is crawling in your bed and then going back over on the other side of town and crawling in James' bed. Again, I know that it's not, that HIV is just not for gay men, right? What I'm saying is, even if you have that mindset, that it's only for the kids and the boys, the fact of the matter is anybody can catch it. Okay? Anybody can catch it. And if you live in an Atlanta, Georgia, okay, you might want to go get you one of those chicken sandwiches. Chicken salad. I mean chicken salads. You better get you one of these. It's a chicken. What that girl say? It's a chicken salad. You better get you one of these. But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with Tamar being on prep. I think it's a good thing. Um, I'm sure that she consulted her doctor before she started. But it's nothing for Tamar to be ashamed of. You can never shame somebody when they're protecting themselves. You know what I'm saying? And again, maybe it's just because I can't remember, maybe it was when it came out, it was marketed directly to gay men. So that's probably why some people think that it's just for gay men, but it's not. It's not. Just like HIV is just not for gay men. It's not. Okay? Be very clear. Anyways, what else? And then she says Tamar says that Nene is the best matchmaker and she'll be back to find her a man. I want Tamar. Ooh, I hate when I have to have these conversations. Ooh, I don't mean any disrespect when I say this about Tamar. Tamar, baby, I want you to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go, Tamar. We have seen you in situations where, girl, you have been an idol. I don't know if it was over or not. Girl, the last man was a white man. He embarrassed you all up and down Beyonce's internet. You had David, who, girl, they say embarrassed you, and they say he was what, mentally abusive. Then you had Vince, who your mama said was over there beating your ass. Now that's what Miss Evelyn said. Okay. Now I don't know why Miss Evelyn got anything. Why she got a lie? I believe Evelyn. I believe Miss Evelyn. Be very clear. If Miss Evelyn said that Vince was over there beating Tamar ass, I believe it. Girl, I just want you to realize, Tamar, you don't have to have no man. If you find one, if you find your Prince Charming, because that's what a lot of the girls looking for, Prince Charming. If you find your Prince Charming, then girl, go for what you know and live happily ever after. But if you don't, baby, it's okay. You enough. Girl, you enough. You enough. And you would think that with the relationship Tamar has had, and Tamar damn near 50, you would think she would be like, girl, you know what? I'm gonna give relations up just for a little bit. I think I'm gonna be by myself, right? I just, and not to go off into a whole rant. I just want people to realize if you find the love of your life, then girl, kudos. But if you don't, then that's okay too. Kudos. Like, and I just will never understand Tamar. I don't know. I think it would be one thing if Tamar was just in relationships and she was like, oh, yeah, I was in a relationship, but we fell out of love and we broke up. Oh, I was in a relationship and it just didn't work out, right? But the relationships that Tamar has been in have, from what people have said, have been abusive, um, and just not one, multiple. And it's just sad. It's just sad. But anyways, girl, she gonna do what she wanna do. Like I said, girl, we all grown. And they laughed about Nene dating some man. What man did Nene date that looked like a stud? Girl, because Tamar said, girl, Nene was over there eating pussy and didn't know it. Okay. Um, and then what else? Let me look over the notes. Girl, Nene was talking about how she worked with Lonnie Love, and she said she have kid. Girl, Tamar is kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. She have kitten heels. She said it real fast, so I couldn't hear her at first. She basically said, "Did she have kitten heels on? She have kitten heels on. She have kitten heels on." Oh, she said she's in communication. She still talks to, well, not still talks, but she talks to Tamara, and she does talk to Adriana. She says she's friends with Adriana's husband, but she says she wants to get in contact with Jeannie. But she said she's not fooling with Lonnie Love. Like for Lonnie Love, she said it's a wrap. She said with Kandi, She said if Kandi comes out and apologizes and says that basically she's a messy bitch, I'm paraphrasing, and that she started the beef with Tamar, then girl, they can move on. But Kandi not gonna do that. So it's basically gonna be beef forever between Kandi and Tamar, at least with Tamar. Oh, I didn't know that Tamar was. I think Tamar is Tiny's daughter's godmother. I didn't know Tamar and Tiny was close like that. Tamar and Tiny, yes, and I think that Tiny is Logan's godmother. I think that's what they said. Tiny from Escape, T.I.'s wife. Oh, and then she talked about the Braxton family values and how it was a money issue for some of the people on the show. When she first did Braxton family values, it wasn't about the money. She said she said she was doing it for the culture, which I can agree. I can actually I mean, because at the time Tamar did not need the money. We remember how Tamar was living a very nice, extravagant lifestyle. So whatever little coin they was probably getting from WeTV was probably snack money for Tamar. I do want to know how it feels though for Tamar to go from a girl from living girl on an estate with 2 guest homes to living in a goddamn apartment. Girl, condo, high rise, whatever. Girl, I wonder how that feels. To the point where you can hear your neighbors. Girl, walls, girl, walls this thin. Okay. Girl, that has to be a humbling experience. It has to be. To go from where Tamar lived to girl now, you can look outside your window and see Tamar. I mean, you can see Nene outside your window. Nene said she be in her bed, she can hear Tamar singing. When I tell you life, when I tell you, baby, when I tell you the universe will humble your ass, yes, she will. Yes, she will. Um, Tamar says that when she does have sex, when she's in a relationship, she can do it every day. If they're not able to do it, she'll send X-rated pics. Girl, you better stop that shit. Just I would Nene, girl, please. Girl, and as much as girl, the niggas who you date be crazy as hell too. These niggas been on girl accidentally posted the pics you sent to them. Girl, not on my watch. Um, and that was pretty much it. That was it, y'all. Okay, great. Yeah, that was it, y'all. Let me look over these notes. I wasn't gonna watch. Okay, a friendly conversation and not an interview. I put Nene makeup looks strange. Y'all let me know. I fast forward through the Boss of Woman. It was about 12 minutes. Tamar got a fade, baby bangs, and a bust down. I'm so confused why her hair like this. Girl, that's literally what I typed. I literally typed. Tamar got a fade, baby bangs, and a bust down. I'm so confused why her hair like this. Ooh. I put so Tamar and Nene are neighbors, and Nene don't like to be bothered. She don't fool with Tamar like that. I think she does. I wrote that, but as I was talking, I think she does. I think her and Nene are actually friends. I just think that Nene, when Nene be home, Nene be like, "Girl, don't come up here bothering me, girl. I just want to lock my door and watch TV." Um, I put so Tamar and Nene walls are thin like ours. Tony and Tamar have always been close. Um, they talk about Nene. They were talking in code at one point. I assume they were talking about Nene's new boyfriend, the African guy, the wife who sued Nene. Remember, Nene basically says when she's not in a relationship, she doesn't care about sex. She doesn't think about it. Um, Nene was supposed to be on the real. Tamar didn't know that at first that they were in contact with Nene. I recently worked with Lonnie. She have Kitten Hills on. Said Lonnie had several meetings to take her off the show and was worried about why she had so many days off. Yeah. Okay, y'all, that's it. Okay. Yeah, that's it. All right, I'm gone. I mean, it was a cute little 1-2, whatever, but girl, whatever. It was cute. All right, I'm gone. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good night. Bye, y'all.